Good day, students. Welcome to another interesting class. We are going to look at electric meter reading and billing. This is a very practical topic. Most of us, we have seen the NEPA people, as we fondly call them, coming to our houses to drop bills. And they will read our meter and drop their bills. Later, we'll go and make some payments. So today we want to really look at how is this reading done? How do NEPA come about this? Let's start with the definition, meter reading. Meter reading is a way of knowing the amount of electricity current used. Is the way of knowing the amount of electricity current used. So when they are talking of meter reading, they are trying to know how much electric current you have used. And when they know that, there is a particular calculation that will be made, and then you know what to pay. Since the meter is digital, it works on its own. You don't go there and turn it. It works on its own. That makes it digital. The amount of current used can be calculated. And how do we calculate that amount of current? By subtracting the old reading from the present reading. That's to say that every month they will bring a current bill, and that current bill, you get the reading from subtracting the old reading. Let's take, for instance, before we go to the exercise, your previous reading was maybe 3000. This is previous. And they now brought a new bill, and that bill is 200. I'm not going to put the unit first because I want to illustrate something. This is the present one they brought, and this is the previous. Now from this, how will you know the current bill to pay? The current bill to pay is to subtract 3,000 from this, which will give you 1,000 naira. So that means that your current bill to pay is 1,000 naira. So that is how they do it. But let's be very concrete, let's be very precise by looking at an example. Example 1 says, the previous meter unit reading is this. Please note that this was the previous one, is 3,743 kilowatts. This stands for kilowatts. And the present unit reading is 3,870 kilowatts. Now what you do is that in order to calculate the quantity of electricity current used, it will be the previous, which is 3,743 kilowatts, minus the current one, which is 3,743 kilowatts. So when you do that, you arrive at 127 kilowatts. That gives you the quantity of electricity that we have used. Now, the unit for cost of 1 kilowatts of electricity is 4. This is a standard. They will tell you what each unit stands for. So if from our exercise, the unit is 4 naira per unit, that's 4 naira per unit, and you have used this for the month. A unit is 4 naira. Now, 30 naira is charged mainly for the use of the meter. So the meter is not free. The units, let me illustrate it for proper understanding. Please look at what I'm about doing now. They are telling you that 4 naira is charged per unit, while 30 naira is subtracted for meter. So you should bear this in mind, that every unit of electric current used, you have to pay 4 naira, and monthly, NEPA will charge you for using their meter, and that is 30 naira. So from our calculation, if you have used a unit of 127, that means you are going to divide 4 naira by this, then you add up the meter charges to have your total bill. I'll take that again. You are going to times 4 naira, that is their standard, by the unit use. The unit use from our exercise is 127. You times 4 by this, then you add plus 30 naira. And what is the 30 naira? The charge for using their meter. Now let's go back to our exercise. They said that the unit cost of 1 kilowatts of current is 4 naira per unit, and 30 naira is charged mainly for the use of meter. The amount of current consumed obtained by multiplying the unit, just as I've said, you multiply the minute used with the unit rate plus the meter charge. So the unit from our mathematics here is 127 kilowatts times per unit. In order to get the total, you times that per unit, which is 4 naira, then plus the meter charge. Now what you have is that when you times this by 4, you have this, 496 naira. That is 127 times 4 will give you 496 naira. Then you plus that with the charges you pay for your meter every month, which is 30 naira. And the total amount will now be 528 naira. That is, so therefore, 528 naira will be the total amount of electricity consumed for that month. So what you do is, you now go and pay this amount to NEPA. And this means that you have consumed 127 kilowatts of electricity plus the meter charge, and you have to pay NEPA 528 naira. I hope it's very clear. Okay, now for further clarity, let us go to exercise 2. Exercise 2 says, calculate the amount of money that will be paid to PHED, that is Port Harcourt Electricity Distribution Company, if the current unit used, your current unit is this. That's the one you have used, and the previous is this. So what do? You minus this from this. Let's continue. Given that monthly meter charge is 30 naira and 1 unit per kilowatt is 4 naira. So all parameters have been given to you. Now let's look at the solution. The quantity of new unit used, this is the new one used, and this is the previous one used. So what do? You minus this from this, and this will be your answer. So when you do that, you now know that you have 11.40 kilowatts of current used, and now you now times it by the standard. The constant is 4 naira. You times that by 4 naira and you have this. Then don't forget that the 30 naira is money used for the meter. They are charging you for their meter 30 naira every month. So your current use times 4 plus the meter charge. So that's what we have here. The current use per month is given as this, times this, you have this. Now, the total amount of bill will now be this current use plus the 30 naira, which will give you 4,590 naira as your total consumable bill. So you pay that amount to NEPA. I'm going to take it all over again because I'll give you something to do at home. They said this was the current bill given to you. This current bill was 7,340 kilowatts was what you consumed in your current bill, and your previous was 6,200 kilowatts. So when you subtract this from this, you now have this 11.4. So 11.4, you times it by 4 naira. When you times it by 4 naira, you have this amount. You now multiply this amount. You now multiply this amount by 4. This will give you this. and you add that to your total money subcharged for the meter, and you have this. This happens to be your billings. Now, I want you to try this at home. Calculate the energy consumed if, one, the previous unit reading reads this, and the current is this. This was the previous, this is the current. So what do? You subtract the current, the previous from the current, and you have your total current, times that by 4, and you know what to do. If you have any problem, you let me know. Then B, the present unit reading is this, kilowatts, and the previous unit reading is this. Assuming 1 kilowatts costs 4 naira, and the flat rate of meter is this. So calculate the energy consumed, and let me have the answer in our next class. You can see it's very simple. Just try that out and submit it through the site you are going to use to access this, and I will respond to you. Thank you.